Welcome to the 42nd annual Muertos de la Risa hosted by SGA Youth and Family Services. Muertos de la Risa is an event that celebrates Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead. It is rooted in Mexican and indigenous tradition. The day marks a joyous occasion of remembrance in honor and memory of loved ones that have passed away. My name is Rogelio, your MC for the day, and we're here empowering communities to make change. In 2021, this occasion gives us the opportunity to be the voices of those that we lost to COVID-19. We are still in challenging times, and today we are still combating COVID-19, asking everyone to stay safe and protect those that are at risk and our elders. We are stronger as a community, and in unity, we can slow down the spread. Get vaccinated, practice social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands, and let's continue combating COVID-19. Be the change and be the voice. And now, Elizabeth Delgado will be leading our DIY photo frame making workshop.
Hi friends, for this video we are creating Dia de los Muertos picture frames using popsicle sticks. For this activity you will need popsicle sticks, a glue gun, glue sticks, and any decorations of your choice. So for first step, you are going to use the glue gun with the glue stick, add glue to each edge of the popsicle stick and place them together. You're going to do that for each popsicle stick or color of your choice. Then you're going to add glue on top of that and create a square or a picture frame. Once you're done adding glue to each edge and have your sets, you're going to combine each set of sticks, a little bit of glue on each corner, and place them on top, creating a picture frame. Let it dry for 2 or 3 seconds. Once it's done, you could start adding your decorations. For this, we're going to be using some butterflies, some pom-poms, some little flowers, and little rhinestones. You could add a little bit of glue into your butterflies or your decorations so they can stick into the popsicle sticks. Once you're done adding all your decorations into your frame, you could start cutting to your liking the picture and insert it into the frame. You could add a little bit of glue into each corner, and then you can place your picture to the frame. And my friends, that's how you do a Dia de los Muertos picture frame.
Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Jackie. I go by Jackie Arte. Tonight we're going to be doing a really cool calavera or sugar skull, Day of the Dead inspired. So what we're going to start off with is a quick sketch. And all that sketch consists of, and I already did one, but I'll go with it with you guys, is almost like you're doing a circle. That's going to be the skull or the cranium. And then we're going to go off to the side, just a little bit to the side, and we're gonna round off down here. That's basically gonna give you a really cool shape of your skull. And then we gotta find our middle point, which my middle point's gonna be right about there. So what I'm gonna do really quick is I'm gonna turn it around towards me, and I'm gonna do a like an upside down heart. That's going to be the nose, because we want it to be kind of playful. Here we go. And then I'm going to do 2 circles. More like ovals. They don't have to be perfect. And then we're going to do a line, kind of like a smile. And we're going to do a couple lines in here. Just like that. All right, I hope you guys like that. The colors you should have or you'll be working with are going to be your primary colors, which is going to be red, blue, and yellow. So don't be afraid. You can make all kinds of colors with that, all right? And you're also going to have black and white. I normally do teaching classes, and so I always like to start from the back forward, which is what I tell my students. So we're going to start with the black, and we're going to do our background black. So I'm going to pour just a little bit. My canvas is slightly bigger than yours, and I'm just using a bigger canvas so that you can actually see. If I were to use a smaller one, you won't be able to see it too well. Then I'm going to take, you should have an array of brushes. The favorite one that I like, because it covers a lot, is going to be a flat top. So I wet my brush and I dried it up because I don't want the excess water. If you have excess water on your brush, that's going to make your paint runny and it's going to drip, and you don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay it flat, just like that. We're going to go around. This is going to give it a nice outline. And feel free to, you know, don't put too much paint. About that much is good. And then we're just going to go around like that. So we get some nice clean lines. And the reason I'm doing a black backdrop on this is so that the bright colors will stand out. All right, then I'm going to take another smaller brush. I'll show you guys right now. This is the brush that we're going to be using. See that? It's a smaller one. It's also flat, and it's flat top. I like these a lot because it gives me nice crisp lines. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paint the eye black. Be conscious of how much paint you're putting on, because the more paint you apply, the longer it takes to dry. And I believe we only have 30 minutes to do this painting. So if you put a lot of paint on there, it's going to take you the 30 minutes, so don't do that. All right. And the heart, well, the nose is like a little heart. It's upside down. And you know what? Feel free to move your canvas upside down or right side up, whichever way is easiest for you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And the reason I'm doing this before I paint anything else is that once we're going to paint this white as well. And when we paint it white, you may lose the lines, or the lines may get they may smear, and we don't want that, because then it's going to create gray. These are little tricks. So it's not really straight, but that's okay, because you know what? The sugar skulls are not very symmetrical either. So don't feel bad about it. All right, now I'm going to get a pointer brush. You see that right there? It's very thin. and I flatten it out. The reason I flatten it out is, once again, I like lines. So it looks like that. And every time I use a brush, I wet it first and then I dry it off. I don't dry it completely. I just make sure the excess water is off because we don't want it to run. And if it starts to run, like I said, it's gonna start dripping. And we have such a beautiful layout already that we don't want to ruin it. And not that you could really ruin a painting, but if you're on a time constraint or you gotta hurry up and do some stuff, you don't want to have to wait for it to dry completely and then paint over it again. So to save yourself some headaches, make sure your brush is dry. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna do like a smiley face. And I'm not applying a lot. I'm applying very little because, once again, I need it to dry. You see? Just like that, guys. All right, now I'm gonna pour some white. And I didn't want to add the line work to the skull like now. I wanted to add it afterwards because it'll be easier. Once again, if you do the line work with your pencil, and also you'll probably be using an H2 pencil, it'll smear, and we don't want that because it's going to create like a gray look on there, which is not what we're going for. We want it to look like a sugar skull. So we'll do the lines afterwards, and I'm going to show you a cheat way to do that. So now we're going to pour some white. And remember what I said, the reason I did this part first is to make sure that it's dry. So some parts are wet, which is okay. I'm just making sure it's dry. Most of it's dry. There we go. Just that one little part was wet. That's okay. Make sure yours is dry. And we're gonna go ahead with that brush again, the one that we used for the background. And dry it up. Make sure that there's no paint on there. This is how you could do the paint test, okay? It's wet and I don't have any paint on my hand. The water may be a little dirty, but because I've been painting. But if you don't see paint, like paint dripping, then it means it's clean. You always want to make sure you clean your brush, especially if you're going from a darker color to a brighter color. Since we've been using black and we're going to go into white, you got to make sure your brush is clean, okay? So we're going to do the same thing. Also, another little tip, if you're going to continue to paint at home and you're inspired by this and you want to do more in your casa, never let the paint get down here. When you do that, you could ruin your brush. And I'm all about taking care of my tools, right? This is my tool. So let's make sure we keep them clean. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start painting in. And the reason we want to paint it in is because it makes it a little bit more vibrant. And you also don't run the risk of like the paint not standing out. It's going to look kind of choppy if you don't paint it in. So this is almost like a primer. All right. The eye's dry. Eyes dry. My nose looks a little wet, but that's okay. See, and I'm just going right around the eye. And I don't want to use a lot of paint. Remember, guys, this has to dry. And the white also helps clean up the line work. Just like that. And you could tell if you've missed a spot, if you can't really see it, just get your canvas and go like that to it, and you'll see how it kind of, there's a glare to it. You want to see that glare. And where there's not a glare, that means that's where you got to paint it in. So I kind of got to see my own glare right now. There we go. Quizás. Okay. I'm gonna just keep going around. Now, here's the tricky part. Gotta make sure our mouth is dry. And mine is not completely dry. So, I'm gonna paint around it. And this one's dry, so I could go over it. This one's a little dry, so I'm just gonna go gently over it. Now you see how I created that streak? That's not a problem. I'm gonna get some more white, and I'm just gonna kind of blend it out. There we go. These are still wet, so I'm just gonna get in there. Now, I'm a little bit more experienced painter. If you wanna just get in there and you don't wanna go over the lines, what you could do is get the smaller brush and just paint it in. Which is what I would recommend you do. And I'll show you how to do that. We're gonna use the pointer brush. And I'm just gonna get in here real quick. All right. Just like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cool beans. There you go, guys. All right. Now I got to make sure that my white's dry up here, which it's not. But that's going to give us time. So, since we're using primary colors, we got to use the primary colors to blend, right? So, our primary colors are going to be red, yellow, and blue. Okay, your colors may not look like mine, which is okay. It's gonna give you almost the same result. I normally like to do flowers, like flower petals around my eyes. You have to do flower petals. You could do dots, you could do circles. I'm gonna use like a pinkish color. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my red. And this is how I like to start. I like to start with my eyes first because that's going to map out everything else, okay? I'm going to start with my red, and I'm not going to pour a lot. I'm going to pour very little because if I do a lot, it's going to be more red than pink. And how you get pink is you add red and white. Simple as that. So just a little bit of red. And I'm going to use this small brush right here, okay? So all I'm gonna do is get a little bit of red, like the tip of this right here. Maybe 2 of those, not too much. And more white than anything, so I get a nice puddle. I want it to be just a little lighter, so I'm gonna keep adding white to it. There we go. So it's gonna give me this nice color right there. You see that? I like that. So all I'm gonna do now, this should have allowed time for my white to dry. So I'm just gonna touch around it. Feels pretty good. I think we're in good shape. And this already gives you the shape of a petal, believe it or not. So what I like to do just to map things out for myself is I'm gonna go right above here, not even an inch. It's gonna be like, for you guys, it'll probably be 1/4 of an inch. You see how I did that? And all I did was just lay it flat and up. And I'm gonna do that over here. Just like that. If it goes into the eye, that's okay, because we're gonna black it out again anyway, right? So we're gonna go real quick again. And we're gonna go in between those just like that. It's just a one stroke, okay? Don't worry about going slow. Don't worry about how fine it looks. Just quick little stroke. And it's better if the paint is on the tip of the brush, just like that. And I'm gonna go in the middle of these guys too and do that. There we go. This one looks a little separated, but that's okay. I like to have like a color palette or a color scheme. So if I already got pink, I'm probably gonna use a yellow and a green, because those are my favorites. Let's see here. Now to make green, we do a mixture of blue. You want to do very little blue, okay? Just because my blue is very dark. I don't know what kind of blue you have. But if you use a darker blue, use very little, because this pigment will go a long way. Just a dot. And then we're going to do some yellow. If you want your green to be bright, use more yellow. You can even do a dot of white in it so that it stands out a little bit more. And let's see here. I'm going to get a dot of blue. Like that. And a bunch of yellow. And we're going to mix that. And it still came out a little dark, but that's okay. We're going to add a little bit more yellow to that. You see mine's coming out like this. It's coming out a little dark, but that's okay. I'm going to add a dot of white to lighten it. Now, normally I tell people you never want to add white to anything to lighten it, because it's going to make it pastel, unless that's what you're going for. But in this case, since I'm mixing from scratch, it's okay if I use a little bit of white, because it's not going to be really pastel. And we have a really cool looking green. Look at that. All right. So I'm going to clean off my brush really good. So it looks like that. And we're going to dot around. I'm going to dot around the nose, okay? So I'm going to do one big dot right there. One big dot there. On the corners. In the middle. And feel free to reapply, okay? You see? And we're going to dot in between. The reason I do it like that is, once again, it helps me map it out so that it looks somewhat symmetrical. That one's a little bigger, but that's okay. Now, since we already have the green going, and I wanted to I want to use the green in other places, we're going to go ahead and mix it up a bit, okay? Let's see here. The most common design you see are lines, and we're going to stick with that. I like to do more traditional calaveras, so we're going to do a dot right there, and the dot's going down like this. See that? And then we're going to start with the line right here. And I'm just going to twist my brush so I get a nice fine line. And let me fix that line up really quick. Just like that. Then I'm going to go over here and do another one. Another one like that. And I'm just going to keep going. And what you're doing is you're bringing the lines, you're angling it off so you could bring it back towards that dot. Pretend like the dot is the target, right, where you want to end up at. But you don't let them touch. And then I just keep going. And to get that fine tip, all I'm doing is twisting and pulling up. Just like that. And then I could do a dot here, 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 and here. So I did 4 dots. Let's do those same 4 dots over here, 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 and here. All right. Let's add some yellow. You know what? Your yellow may be very translucent, which means it's going to be really transparent. So why don't we mix it up with a little bit of the red so we get a nice orange? You're going to have more yellow than red because red is your dark color again, okay? So you're going to pour yellow, a nice blop on there. And then you're going to do a tiny little dot. I'm going to do about that much. You guys ready? And let's get orange. And once again, it's going to look a little weird at first, but if you add a dot of white to this, it's going to give you a nice orange color. Let's go ahead and add a dot of white. And I'm just mixing it up, mixing. Now, if you don't want to use these colors that I'm making, feel free to use your own color. You don't have to do it like this. This is just what I want to do. And I'm going to give it kind of like what we did here. I'm going to do down here on the teeth. But let me clean my brush off really good. The reason I'm cleaning it off, even though I'm using it to blend, is that all the paint's down here, and I don't want that. All right. So here we go. And we're just going to fill in the teeth like that. And we're going to do that down here as well. We're going to give it a dot right around the middle. Go up a little bit higher. And then the last one, you can go all the way up here like this. Now, I like to fill in stuff. So I'm going to use my green again. And I'm going to do a line here and a line there. So it ties it all together. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. And I'm going to do that line like that. And I'm also going to dot some more. Do a dot right there, a dot right there. Just like that. And last but not least, I'm going to go in with my black again. Now you can add more to this, guys, okay? Don't feel like this is the end of it. You can add more lines in there. You can add more polka dots. You can potentially add flowers around this. So there's a lot that could be done. We were just limited with time for this. So I'm just going to make my circles where they were. And I want to make sure that my lines over here are good to go as well. So I'm just going to go over one more time and make sure that it's bold. And there we go, guys. And make sure you design your canvas. Make sure that everybody knows that you painted this, okay? Thank you so much for watching, for hanging out. Have a Feliz Dia de Muertos, and until next time. Bye, guys.
Kimberly Becerra will be facilitating our Sugar Skulls workshop.
Sugar skulls, we do want to make sure our hands are clean. We will be using sugar. We will also be using egg whites. And to decorate, I have gel food color, and I also have some edible markers. These are the colors that I will be using: black, orange, green, and pink and purple. We want to make sure that we have parchment paper on a tray so we can place our sugar skulls on it. And we also need a bowl where we can put sugar and egg whites to mix. We also need a spatula or a butter knife works as well. To start off, I will be adding 4 cups of sugar into the bowl. We want to make sure that it is measured carefully. Here goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is how much we need. Now I am going to open the egg whites, and I have a measuring cup that is 1/3. I am going to fill that up halfway so that it is about 2 egg whites. Now right here I am speeding up the video because all we are doing is mixing, but we do want to make sure that we mix very well. Now that I have created a ball, we want to make sure the ball is pressed very firmly. That way our sugars do not fall or collapse. Now with my 2 fingers, I am squishing the bottom of the ball, making an almost half of a square. This will create the illusion of a skull or a jawline. Now as I continue to press, I want to assure that the top of the head stays the same shape, but that the bottom creates almost like a dead inwards type of shape. Now with my butter knife or with my spatula, I am going to create what looks like the teeth. And there you go. One sugar skull done. I'm going to create more sugar skulls. This recipe should leave you with about 6 to 7 sugar skulls. Now remember, we want to press from the bottom only, and we want to use the fingertips to create our eyes and to create our nose. After we complete our batch, if you want to, you can bake them if you want to eat them at 200 Fahrenheit for 45 to 55 minutes. If you do not want to eat them and you do not want to bake them, you can leave them outside to air dry for 24 hours. And then they should be good to decorate. So, these are my 5 sugar skulls that I have. I did leave one out just because I didn't like exactly how it came out. But these were my favorite ones. I am going to start decorating with the gel food colorings. And at this point, you can basically do any design that you would like. I am going in here with some red dots. Traditionally, is what you usually see on a sugar skull. Now right here, I am going in with edible inked markers. You do not want to use any regular marker if you are planning to eat these. You can find these markers at any local market. You can also buy them off Amazon if it's a better choice right now. But if you want to eat them, you do need edible inked markers. So these are our final products, decorated. I drew some flowers on this one. And my favorite one, Miss Heart Lady. Now remember that sugar skulls are meant to be decorated any way that you would like. And traditionally you would put the name of the person that you are remembering on their forehead. But it is totally up to you guys. Have a great day.
Stick around to see what goes into making a Day of the Dead ofrenda.
Known as Day of the Dead, takes its roots from the ancient Aztec custom of celebrating our ancestors. Dia de los Muertos is a time to remember our loved ones who have passed away and to celebrate their memory. For every ofrenda includes 4 elements: water, wind, earth, and fire. Here we have water so the spirits can drink. The water can also be left with a bar of soap, mirror, and towel so the spirits can freshen up. The papel picado, or traditional paper banners, represent the wind. It can also represent the fragility of life. We have also set up a candlelight altar to help the spirits of our ancestors so they can find their way back to us. Aside of the 4 elements, we have placed pictures of our loved ones to let them know they are invited to our altar. You will also see marigolds or cempasúchil placed through our altar. Marigolds are a flower native of Mexico. Their strong scent and vibrant color are used to lead the spirits from the cemetery to our homes and altar. Many people place their petals of marigolds on the floor, creating a path as well. Monarch butterflies are placed in the altar as they are believed to behold the spirits of the departed. Another item you will not miss in our altar is sugar skulls, or calaveritas de azúcar, along with other decorative skulls. These skulls represent a whimsical reminder of the cycle of life. That is why they are decorated with bright colors. You can also place items that were important to your loved ones when they were alive. You can place any books they liked or musical instruments they played to remind them of their lives here on earth. Now stick around to see how the Promotoras de Salud put together our altar in memory of those we loved and lost during these past 2 years.
And now we transition to our digital procession.